All right, Stephanie, it sounds like, again, we don't have a hard confirmation of the last of any spotting of David Sweat. There's some reporting we have that indicates that there was evidence at the site that Richard Matt was shot and killed around 3:45 p.m. That Sweat was near. Stephanie, you were in that second cabin where I believe Richard Matt's DNA was found from earlier this week. What did you see in that cabin?
Chris, we actually went to the first cabin that they were here near Owl's Head. This is a hunting cabin that's up in the woods, and it was an incredible journey that we took today with two local hunters who brought us up there. And what you were struck by almost immediately is that we went by probably a half a dozen other cabins, and these are cabins that were not broken into and that they would have had to have passed. They didn't go into those. They chose this one, which was in a remote location, a mile and a half off the road that any vehicle could travel on. And it really raised this question of how did they know it was there, and how did they know they were going in the right direction? You have to imagine that they would have some sort of map or some kind of direction to work off of. When we got to the cabin, you saw that there was food there, there were beds there. If they hadn't been caught, they probably could have been there for quite a period of time. That cabin is owned by prison officers. 3 of those prison officers work at Clinton. But what I would add, which is the prison that they broke out of, what I would add, however, is that in this area, there are a lot of prison officers. 800 prison officers work at Clinton. A lot of these cabins are owned or partially owned by prison officers. So it doesn't necessarily tell us something, but it's still interesting to take note of.
Wait,
Chris?
So the cabin was all owned by prison officers, the one that they broke into?
Yes, the cabin is owned by prison officers. It's a group of them. The way these hunting camps work is everyone has a bit of the lease, and they all use it throughout the hunting season. All prison officers, 3 of them from Clinton Correctional. The cabin officer that stumbled upon that cabin worked at Upstate Correctional. And again, we don't have any link between any of these officers and Richard Matt and David Sweat, and there are 800 prison officers that work at Clinton. A lot of them hunt, a lot of them have cabins up in these woods. So it isn't necessarily some kind of nefarious connection between these two, but it is definitely worth taking note of.
And just to be clear, I mean, part of what is appears to have aided the 2 fugitives in being able to kind of make their way through this part of the woods where there are a lot of hunting cabins. Most of them don't have people in them at this time of year. It's not a period of the year where there's the most hunting happening, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. The hunting season is in the fall, for about 3 or 4 months in the fall. And then during the rest of the time, for the most part, unoccupied. And although some hunters have told me that they don't keep their weapons in these cabins in the off season, they're not so sure about everyone. And one of the issues that they were concerned about, the state police and others, is that there might have been a weapon or 2 in this cabin that they picked up. And we are hearing in these reports tonight that Richard Matt might have had a shotgun. So you have to wonder where he got that and whether he may have picked that up in one of these cabins. And again, what I would point out, something that struck us, is that this cabin, you don't just stumble upon it. You aren't going to walk through that woods. You aren't going to necessarily take that trail. It almost comes to an end in parts. It's extremely muddy, difficult to walk up, and quite a distance off of any main road. It really left us with the impression that you would have to know that it was there.
Wow, that's fascinating. We will be back with more of our breaking news this afternoon. One of the escaped fugitives apparently shot and killed. One still remains at large with law enforcement, it seems, possibly closing in at this moment. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us.